Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat League video. Today we're going to be showcasing a team with Lanturn in the lead and Double Ice in the back. Yesterday we were showcasing Double Ice, but as I realised at the time and as some people mentioned, this team would be super weak to Mawel, so I decided to switch up Lanturn because it has a lot of coverage across the whole meta here. Shout out to Jai in the Discord and Dan Ottawa as well, who was showcasing Lanturn yesterday. It's a Pokemon I've been meaning to run in the lead for a while, and I finally decided to run it here as a part of this ABB style team. Now of course I went over the ice types yesterday, but what I do like about them in general is that they have a pretty neutral matchup against everything. It's pretty neutral against the grass types, obviously super effective against Trevenant and like the pure grass types, but the main grass type you will see will be Ferrothorn. In this video you're going to see that in these 25 battles that I played, I got a Trevenant, Ferrothorn or some sort of all grass lead about 16 or 17 out of 25 games. So like that might be something for you guys to consider. We're running Lanturn in the lead and you know we were actually just getting hard countered. But overall, we went 14 out of 25 with this team. You guys can let me know in the comments. There's a game in this first set where I think I should have won it, but I know some of you will argue that that's the way the game's supposed to function. So check that out here in a minute. But overall, I think Double Ice is still quite a good pick in this league. Yesterday with Ferrothorn Double Ice, I went 7 out of 10. Today I went 14 out of 25, which really should have been 15. So including the 7 out of 10 yesterday, Double Ice has went 21 out of 35. Overall, Double Ice is working quite well, and Lanturn is very good in this meta for certain Pokemon that you will see pop up. You do see a lot of Tentacruels and Pelipers, and of course Galarian Weezing does not have a great matchup against Lanturn. So pretty much anything in this meta that's not grass, Lanturn does really well against. Probably the most awkward matchup that you will see is the Lanturn Mirror match, which I did start seeing quite a lot towards the end of the sets, but for these first two sets I got a majority of grass leads, which is kind of insane to be honest with you. I think we're going to see some Mawel and Fire-type leads in the future here in the next couple of days, so I would prepare for that if I were you. I was talking to somebody who was using this team and they were getting a lot of grass types too, but I mean, you guys know how it goes. I'll probably run Mawel and start getting Swampert leads. So I think Mawel's probably going to start making a lot of appearances in the league quite soon. So I'm even tempted to run Swampert tomorrow, just in preparation for Mawel being everywhere. Also, before we get into the video, let me know what you guys think about the remote raid passes, which just went live today. I think it's a pretty terrible update. I really wish Niantic would listen to the community, and they have done some improvements to in-person raiding, but there's just absolutely no reason why they shouldn't be able to do both. I think it's a joke, honestly, and they're just greedy. There you go, there's my thoughts on that. I think they're just greedy, folks, honestly. But here, listen, before we get into the videos here and the gameplay, sorry, hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, and it helps both of us out here. I upload good videos for you guys to enjoy, and, you know, at the very least, you guys can do is subscribe if you are enjoying them, so thank you very much for that. And if you do want to, feel free to join the Discord community. There's a ton of really nice people there. We do practice battles, just like PvP discussions, team ideas. If you're looking to sort of step up your game a little bit, that definitely should help you out, and generally, there's just a ton of nice people in there. But hopping into these battles here, I think this one is another Ferrothorn lead, so we're kind of locked in against this with Lanturn. So yeah, we're going to eat a Power Whip, and that's the really good thing about Lanturn, you can actually get off an okay amount of damage. I think from this range, if the opponent tries to overfarm too much, I can actually get off another Surf potentially and take it out. So the opponent is forced to throw here, and this next part I'm going to slow it down, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below. So we throw after one here, try to get off two moves obviously. We're not going to be able to farm this thing down unfortunately. So we fire off the first Icicle Spear, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that like I was hitting the move before the move came through, you know, so it's like I hit the move and then the damage came through. It was just, I don't think that was right. I know sometimes like the damage gets applied early and stuff like that with the moves, but that just didn't look right. The way it lagged and stuff at the time, like it just felt like I should have got off the move, but I didn't. In this next one, you know, it looked like I wasn't meant to win that one unfortunately, but we get another bad lead and we just swap out. Looks like the opponent's running an ABA style team with Trevenant and Ferrothorn. So, you know, this is pretty much worst case scenario for Lanturn. But you would think that if we can get rid of Ferrothorn and Trevenant, Lanturn should be okay in the back. So we're going to actually just shield this up, try to take switch off this thing. And yeah, we're just going to spam out these Weather Balls. So we do win this in the 2 shield because we're just oppressing this thing so much with these Powder Snows, with the shadow damage, and of course, we just spam off Weather Balls like crazy. In comes a Jellicent. So this is okay at this point, and we can just fire off a Psyshock and go ahead and get a nice little chip on this thing. I'm happy enough to let this take me out because I do want to sort of maintain good alignment here. We're going to come in with Lanturn, they'll come in with Trevenant obviously, and they cannot take us out with one move here, but we can take them out with one Icicle Spear. So we're actually going to farm up a little bit extra, and I think at this point the opponent probably top lefts. Yeah, so we take that out, and GG's to the opponent right here. They would have had to throw at least a Surf on this thing, which would have just left my Lanturn completely free just to farm up to a Thunderbolt. So currently we're actually like, you guys can let me know should I have won that match, but we could have been 3 out of 3 there, or 2 out of 3 currently with all bad leads. Here's an interesting match. We get a really good lead, and the opponent comes in with a Weezing, so we actually stay in here for a minute because we do want to get off a Thunderbolt, and actually just maybe hard take switch on this thing. Weezing of course knows Overheat, which can be a bit of a problem for my backline. Now I actually shield up this first one because I'm thinking, right, you must be quite weak to this overall. So I want to shield up at least one move, try to keep some health on this thing, and try to use this Lanturn just to kind of take out everything. So we're going to fire off a Surf here, and the opponent is going to probably bring in like what their actual counter is to it. So the opponent comes in with Trevenant, I'll come in with Ninetales. The opponent is up a shield, and they catch the Weller Ball. This is a very nice catch by the opponent, and this could be vital for them because they were in just such a rough spot. The opponent, they don't get off a move first, we do get off the Ice Shock. I just throw it straight away, because I know they're pretty much at the move here. They're over-farming here like crazy. And yeah, at this point, we do let the Shadow Ball go. I will come in with Lanturn here, and at this point, the opponent fires off a move. I do decide to let it go. It is the Shadow Ball. It gets us really low, and I think at that point, I could have maybe just thrown a Surf to take it out, but we swap straight out, in comes Trevenant, and we're going to go for the farm down here. Actually, I wonder if I had just thrown the Surf. So they get off the Seed Bomb, and they've already got loaded energy, so we let the first one go, we'll shield up the second one. Can we get this farm down of all farm downs? We're up to 2 Icicle Spears here. See, here's the thing, I don't think I wouldn't have been able to get off both Icicle Spears plus the Surf, so I just don't think I was able to win that. When the opponent made that catch, they basically won the match, basically. So yeah, really well played by the opponent there, and in comes another positive lead here, so we're getting some positive leads here, which is nice. So 2 positive leads. We've actually lost our positive lead in the last one. Ninetales, yeah, it's definitely positive for Lanturn, so we can just stay in here, fire off Surfs. Of course, build up to like at least a Thunderbolt, threaten the high damage. The opponent fires off a Weller Ball straight away, which is obviously weird. They're farming up to the Psyshock this time, and I might even be tempted to shield this one, because Dazzling Gleam, yeah. So I realized that they didn't have Psyshock because they were just building up and building up. So I decided to shield up the potential Gleam. If you're running Ninetales, guys, you definitely need to run Psyshock. Dazzling Gleam is pretty much useless in this meta, and in comes Lanturn. So I'm like, right, okay, so this is why you were just kind of staying in that bad matchup there. Boom, good night, and in comes Togekiss, and we're going to come in with Ninetales here. I don't even need to like go for this over farm, but I decided to do it anyway because I'm in such a dominant position. I might as well just play properly. I'm just going to fire this off straight away because the damage will, sorry, that was a CMP tie. And in comes Ninetales. We'll fire off this Weller Ball. We'll take it out even though it's resisted. And GG's to the opponent there. So in that first set, we were hard countered by a grass type 3 times. And we had 2 positive leads, one of which we lost. So hopping into the next match, we got a good lead with Lapras. And we obviously actually stayed in for a little minute, ate the Leaf Blade, and just try to bang a Thunderbolt. And of course, we can just one-shot it with anything that we have in the back. So that was my thinking there, just try to get ahead on energy for the sort of return matchup. I know that I can eat one move off Tropius. And we go for Psyshock here. We can actually probably get off like two Psyshocks here, which will start getting this Lapras very low. The Surf almost takes out, and Lapras could be a very fun pick for this cup. I know it was everywhere in the Mountain Cup recently, but look at this, we're actually getting it quite low. And at this point, the opponent swaps into the Mud Boy. So this is kind of a little bit tough, but this should be okay for Walrein. I decided to chip it and dip it, because again, we're only about 3 or 4 turns off another Thunderbolt, which will wipe out the Lapras. This should be perfectly fine here. This can only throw Mud Bombs and Blizzards. But I think, you know, things like Mud Boys, things like this could be kind of sleeper picks. Alright, the opponent fires off another Mud Bomb, we'll fire off another Icicle Spear. I think definitely the fast move pressure from us and the Icicle Spears are doing more damage. In comes their Lapras. I do get off another move. And I think at this point I might try to come in and go for a farm down, but the opponent does get there, unfortunately. And I think even here it's a Skull Bash. I was tempted not to shield that. We farm it down, and we go for a Surf here. And we're basically trying to force the opponent to throw. With the opponent, we force the opponent to top left, because we do get off the move, and even though this is resisted, you know, the opponent's going to need, like, basically, what, 2 or 3 Mud Bombs to take out both Pokemon there, so it was just undoable for the opponent there, because of course we were going to get to the move as well, so GG's, good games. Alright, so we've got another Trevenant lead here. We're just going to swap out. We swap into Walrein this time. I think, you know, a Ninetales is your best answer for it, but I think you just swap into your hard answer, guys, honestly. I definitely done some, like, switching around in, like, which Pokemon I was swapping into. I think if it's a Trevenant lead, you just swap into Ninetales straight away, because like the super effective seed bombs just do way too much, and like the opponent will be basically forced to go for a Shadow Ball if they're trying to stand against the Ninetales, and Ninetales just has so much more fast move pressure. So if you get a Trevenant, guys, I would recommend going into Ninetales. I think that was probably the mistake I made this match. And we actually let the opponent get off with another Shadow Ball, and I end up throwing a Surf, which I don't think was necessary here. I'm not sure if it'll make much of a difference here. We'll see what comes in. The opponent comes in with Trevenant, and then they come in with Tentacruel. So yeah, so they had Jellicent and Tentacruel in the back, which are sort of difficult for my ice types to deal with, right? Because I think Walrein, like, you need to land an Earthquake, but that still won't actually fully take out, I'm pretty sure. Of course, the Powder Snows are doing nothing, and of course, Tentacruel is just super effective. So it's kind of like, if I don't get my Lanturn fully lined up on both of their back Pokemon, like, you don't really see this sort of team that often, like double water backline. That is pretty crazy, to be honest, in this current meta. So GG's, we get a pretty bad lead here again. We're going to swap into Walrein. I think it was the second set. I might have just got, like, absolutely walled with the leads. We can, like, you know, obviously fight back in these matches, which is nice. And I do decide to try and, like, fight back here, thinking that the opponent might be weak to ice in the back. They haven't actually, or they just don't have a good answer to it, potentially. I decide I'm going to just try to fight for this a little bit. I think we can eat a Power Whip from here. Oh no, not on Walrein. We potentially got on Ninetales. So I let that go, and we'll most likely come in with Ninetales here. So, like, that's what I'm saying about the ice types, guys. Like, they're good, but it's like the matches that they're supposed to be really dominant in that you would think, like a Ferrothorn match. That's like your most popular grass type, and yeah, it's just very, very tough here. In comes the Trevenant, guys, and like this is just looking super, super rough. Last couple of games we've just had pretty bad Pokemon that we're facing, so there's unfortunately just not like a whole lot we can do. We can eat a Seed Bomb, which is quite nice, and I decide just to try and get a little bit of chip on this thing. We actually do chip it down quite low. The opponent is forced to throw here, and at the very least we should be able to farm this down. So yeah, I just top left. I just top left. I'm like, right, okay, GG. So I'm having a very negative second set here so far. We're 1 for 3. And hopefully our luck can change a little bit. Let's see. So next one, Ferrothorn. Honestly, man, like, I was getting pretty sick with this team of seeing grass type leads. In comes a Lanturn. Like, this is just worst case scenario, basically. We don't have like an amazing answer to Lanturn. Of course, Psyshocks add up on this thing, and one Earthquake will take it out. Like, technically, I think it is a win for Walrein, but it's definitely not comfortable. And again, this is just like, the double ice is good, but it's just not comfortable. The opponent's actually sort of letting this get low. I was so tempted to shield here, because of course I could just like Waller Ball it out. But I can just get a little farm down with my own Lanturn, and just hope that that's enough. So if we do manage to win this match, like, it's a bit of a miracle here. So the opponent's going to go for a Thunderbolt. Can I just go for a full farm down? I do. We're just going to hard swap into Walrein. I hope they're weak in the back. And it is a Ferrothorn. So we need this Walrein just to put in the overtime here, folks. We need this Walrein just to put in all the work. We've got 2 shields, and I think we can actually just about take this in the 2 shield. So, like, you're seeing, like, hard counter, hard swap, and we're still potentially winning this. So, like, this is where Walrein is actually really good. Or this team is very good with the double ice. Like, even in your worst matchups, you still have a chance. Because these Pokemon are just sort of very neutral against most Pokemon. Can we get off the move first? I could decide to go in for a snipe with the Lanturn. Get off this Thunderbolt. They actually catch it on the Trevenant, which is very nice. But can we get off another Thunderbolt? We actually do, folks. So this is getting really close here. This just about doesn't take out. Can we get up to another Surf? No, the opponent does throw. Now the question is, can we farm it down? Let's see, 1. Yes, the opponent's going to Seed Bomb. Unfortunate. It's just like, I don't think I can really do a lot against that team. Like, what am I actually supposed to do there? Like, if you guys have any suggestions, you know, on those last 2 matches, maybe in the last match, you know, I could have done something a little bit better, but it's just like, bro, it's just rough sometimes. It is just rough sometimes. And yep, we get hard countered on the lead again here. We're going to swap into Ninetales this time, and in comes a Tentacruel. So the one nice thing about this matchup at the very least, okay, I'm getting laggy bubbles now. I was just getting annoyed at this point. I was just getting so annoyed at this point. I think I can live 1 Acid Spray and get off another Psyshock, which will threaten to take out. So that's the one thing about Ninetales, if they're a little bit slow with the swap in, you can threaten to take them out. So we're just going to farm this the whole way down. I think they're actually running Sludge Bomb. No, maybe it's a different Tentacruel I'm thinking of. One of these Tentacruels were definitely using Sludge Bomb, and I do recommend it. Since we're debuffed, we're going to swap straight out. We've got 2 shields to 1, and we're just going to hope that we can take whatever's in the back with both of these Pokemon. Now they're not swapping straight out, and they go straight for the flash cannon. That was a mistake by the opponent. And we're just going to full send the Earthquake because we just have to at this point. Will the opponent call it? They do not call it, folks. They let the Earthquake go. I think they were thinking like, right, we need to save a shield for Fairthorn, so we'll just try to, you know, get off whatever damage we can. And this is looking doable at this point. Let's see, we get off the Icicle Spear. I'm just going to throw straight away on this one. Yeah, we're throwing straight away, and we're swapping out and going for the Thunderbolt, which I'm not sure if this will fully take out, but yeah, it just about doesn't, and the opponent, they stop attacking, they realize it's over. So man, you can see like, it is possible, guys, like that's the one thing, like the one saving grace about this team. It is possible sometimes to overcome these really rough leads, but I'm not going to show all of the games because of course it would take too long for the video, but I do kind of like these videos being like a sort of a live stream almost. And the opponent's got a really fun pick here. They've got Cherrim. Now, I happen to know, shout out to one of the comments, I'm going to put it on screen here, I can't remember who it was, but they actually recommended me using this. This thing knows Fireweller Ball as well, so this is a very, very fun pick. I should have swapped into Walrein. Pretty much, like, what I started seeing in these next matches was just, like, a ton of Roserade. So I'm going to have to double shield this, basically, to take it. I probably could just, like, full commit to a farm down, but I'm trying to get shields off the opponent. And actually, is the opponent just going to take me out here? I think they are, actually. Oh, no, actually, the Weather Ball doesn't quite take out. So we go for the Weather Ball on the Pelipper, and we're just going to come in and farm down with the Lanturn. We can eat a Hurricane like it's just absolutely nothing. No, here I am. No Hurricane. You know, it's doing nothing, folks. And we can actually just surf the Cherrim if it comes back in, which it most likely will. Because, of course, it will know. I don't know what its other move is, to be honest. But I knew that it threw its energy pretty recently there. So I decided to just farm up a little bit extra. And I can see that I can never see what swaps in. But I can see that it was not very effective. And I'm switch locked at the moment, so I'm going to try to get off a couple of Thunderbolts. But this should be absolutely fine. Or is it absolutely fine, folks? Because, you know, this opponent's just farming up a ton of energy. So at this point, I was a little bit concerned that they had built up to, like, pretty much back-to-back right there. I tried to catch, and unfortunately was not able to. Now, the opponent's going to fire off a move. This is going to do an absolute ton of damage. But can I still reach it in time? 1, 2, 3. I think, was that a CMP tie right there? I think we just CMP'd for the win, which is absolutely amazing. I'm definitely almost threw myself there. But was the opponent going to get to a move? At the time, I remember thinking that the opponent was going to reach the back-to-back because they did get the sort of overfarm on the Lanturn. And I remember thinking, I wasn't counting while watching here, but I sort of remember thinking that they were on that. In comes another bad lead. We're going to swap into Walrein. And this is, like I said, the sort of bad thing about swapping into Walrein. You're going to have to eat a Seed Bomb for your troubles here, and the opponent comes in with their own Walrein. So at this point, I'm actually kind of happy to see this. They cannot Icicle Spear me. They will have to go for the Earthquake. So, you know, at this point, it'll put it in a comfortable position. If the opponent does go for Icicle Spear, which they do, they completely messed up this match. Guys, never, ever do that. Like, ever, never Icicle Spear Walrein. Just never. If it's on, like, really, really, really low health, like, I mean, like, 5 health, sure, go for the Icicle Spear. So what I decided to do there is try to get a shield down from each of us, because I think that'll benefit me more with the Alolan Ninetales, which will outpace the Trevenant. We'll eat the Earthquake for our troubles here, which is absolutely no problem whatsoever. And we're just going to farm this thing down. We're swapping straight out. We're going to put the pressure on the opponent straight away. And we're going to get off the Weather Ball first. I reckon about 2 Weather Balls plus Powder Snows will take this thing out. Yeah, definitely. Probably just 2 Weather Balls, or like 1 more Weather Ball at this point. We will outpace to the next one, but the opponent will obviously spam off some Weather Balls of their own here. So we'll see if we can take this. The opponent lets it go. Wisely, they let it go. They put it all in Trevenant. They outpace us to the move here. And unfortunately, it's just Trevenant versus Lanturn. But we actually get off the move. I'm like, no way I'm winning this, folks. There's absolutely no way. We go for the Thunderbolt. Is this enough to take out the Trevenant from the self range? Ladies and gents, it actually is. That's crazy. Could not believe I won that. That was definitely not a good team for me to be facing, and the alignment I got was not the best. The opponent definitely threw the match with the Earthquake, I think. Or would it have benefited me more to have 2 shields? I'm not too sure, but in comes the Dugong. And at this point, I'm expecting a catch. So I'm going to go in here and just go for an overfarm. The opponent's not catching enough rings. I'm like, right, okay, I'll just Thunderbolt you then, if that's what you want. The opponent eats the Thunderbolt, and you know, good on Dugong, honestly. I swap into my Ninetales. I was making this really bad mistake of swapping into the wrong Pokemon every single time. So this thing knows Fireweller Ball, of course, which would be neutral against the Walrein. So if you happen to notice that it is one of these boyos, these Roserades, swap into your Walrein, because, you know, they'll have to farm up a little bit extra to do, like, super effective. But the thing is, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I just felt like at the time, like, we're going to be able to just farm it down anyway. But I think coming in with Walrein is better here. In comes a Mawile. Now the thing is, in the Zero Shield, we can just wipe this thing off the face of the earth. Like, I'm expecting a catch here as well. We'll see if the opponent goes for it. Yes, they do. And I made a really good play there. I was super proud of myself for that one, because sometimes I'm just not patient enough. I was very, very patient there, and I'm just even like over farming too much here. It's not even necessary. We've got an Earthquake loaded, and yeah, well, I guess it sort of is necessary because it just completely shuts down any chance the opponent has, because we can get off like multiple moves on it. So I just decided might as well go for the overfarm, and if the opponent does reach a move off the Dugong, at least it'll give the opponent less farm and stuff like that. So you know, that was fine. GG's. You know, I was very, very happy with myself. Like, that patience is key, and it's definitely something I'm trying to work on in my gameplay. The opponent comes in with a Mud Boy lead. Like, have you, like, I've literally had like 75% grass leads, and you're running a Mud Boy. So I decided to catch a Mud Bomb, and in comes a Mawile. Again, we're just full sending the shit. Like, I don't care at this point. We are full sending the Earthquake. Power Punch me all you like. We're just gonna full send it. I just decide to overfarm to make it look like, okay, Icicle Spear then Earthquake. We just go straight for the Earthquake, and the opponent shields it. So at this point, I'm like, fine, that's good. There's not really a whole lot you can do against Lanturn here. This was actually the first Mawile that I seen. Again, I was just seeing so much grass, and I think you will start seeing a lot of Mawile leads. We go for almost the back-to-back Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolt will do more damage. I tried to go for a slight underfarm. Don't quite make it there. And at the very least, we'll get off like 2 surfs against this Mud Boy here, against Whiscash, which I do sort of think is an underrated pick. I would not run it in the lead, absolutely not. But yeah, what I sort of do here is take a move, shield it up, and I might yeah, just come straight into Ninetales here. We're gonna have to eat another move here, which will do a decent amount of damage here, but we're gonna just sort of wait and see what's in the back. Now in comes a Weezing. I decided to go for the Weather Ball Bait because Psyshock would do a ton of damage to this thing. The opponent lets it go, but anyway, I think that's fine because we're probably gonna need 2 moves anyway. So maybe just going straight Weather Ball is fine. We do decide to shield this one up. If the opponent shields this one, we might even get a full farm down, which will be nice. The opponent lets it go, and yeah, they've got a Whiscash. Now, does the Mud Bomb take out from this range? It probably just about does. Yeah, just about does. So at that point, we top left. So reviewing that matchup here, I think a couple of mistakes I made there for sure was definitely shielding up the Ninetales versus the Weezing, and just not full sending the move. Those were like the 2 key mistakes. So it was the Ninetales versus Weezing match, which kind of cost me that match, because I guess the opponent maybe could have went for an overheat, but then if I had have shielded up the overheat instead of one of the brutal swings, that would have left me like with more energy potentially as well. So I think that was definitely the sort of misplay there as well. Definitely that matchup. Either I needed to full send the move, or just not shield the brutal swing, which, you know, it's kind of tough. But yeah, GG's to the opponent there. You know, I think like even in these hard counter matchups that you get sometimes, like you can always look at it and think, you know, even though I am getting hard countered and I should be losing, you know, you guys have seen this whole video that I've been able to overcome a lot of hard counter games where you might ordinarily lose if you play badly. It is sometimes possible if you're using a good enough team to overcome those, and I think it's important, you know, like we done like a little bit of an algorithm talk a while ago, and you know, since then I've noticed like a lot of people popping up like, oh, I'm just getting like algorithmed, and like I do feel like that sometimes too. The way I like to look at it is, if there is an algorithm, let's just, you know, for argument's sake, say it is definitely in the game, right? I wouldn't be surprised if it was. You know, regardless of what my opinion is of whether it is or isn't, you know, what I can control is how I play the game, right? So like, you've seen in this video that I've overcome a ton of hard counters, and you know, sometimes I've even misplayed in some of the matches where the opponent's hard countered, or the opponent's misplayed their winning matchups against me. You know, so like, I think there's a reason why you have a look at some of the best players. Like, there's somebody who done really well. I think he won the Liverpool regional, Human Catcherbug, who started YouTube maybe a couple of months ago. And if you watch his videos, like, he is unbelievable at this game. You know, so it's like, if it was so bad, it would be impossible for good players to hit Legend consistently. So that's the way I kind of like to look at things. Like, you will always get hard countered, no matter what. But no matter what, there are always things that you can do to improve your gameplay. And that's really what this channel is all about here, you know, just trying to improve. And of course, apart from that, like, what I really do enjoy about making YouTube videos is the sense of community that we're building here, and just kind of like generally spreading some positivity. So I just wanted to sort of put that in there at the end for anybody who has made it to this point. You know, even if you do think there is an algorithm, which, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think there is. You know, you can say, oh, tinfoil hat guy, oh, like Pokey AK or whatever. You know, I think that's kind of stupid the way people say that, but I personally do think there is. But the key distinction that we have to make here is that if it is in the game, it's in the game for everybody. And if it's in the game for everybody, that obviously just proves that there are better players who are overcoming it and are able to overcome some of their bad matchups. And You know, that's kind of the level that I personally want to get to. Whether there is an algorithm or not, here's how you have to look at the odds, right? If you run a lead, the chances are you're going to get, like 33% of the time, you're going to get a good lead, a bad lead, or an average lead, right? On average, 1 in 3 matches, you're going to get a hard counter. So are you just going to say like, okay, I'm just, you know, I just can't win this match? Or are you going to say, okay, if I improve my gameplay, and if I'm running a good enough team that's not just going to get completely walled by something, you know, is there a way that I can outplay the opponent in certain ways? Or can I look out for opponents' mistakes? Or can I optimize my move timing? I always think that there is something that you can do, and I don't like to relegate my ability to win matches to some system that's completely out of my control. So that's the way I like to look at things, guys. But let me know if you made it to the end here, and let me know your thoughts about the remote raid passes, and you can let me know your opinions about the algorithm and stuff as well. But this channel is about keeping it positive and keep improving and trying to, you know, just be better people every single day, folks. And I'm actually like saying that in a funny way, but it is kind of true. There's always something you can do to be a better person every day, whether it be just trying to improve at something, or just trying to be kinder, or trying to be better. So that's kind of the way I like to live my life, and that's why I don't really like to sort of blame things that are out of my control in life in general. But thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.